Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and I'm popping on this morning. It's Tuesday, March 31st, to show you a quick card using some Sale-a-bration items because today is the last day of Sale-a-bration. We've had a couple wonderful Sale-a-bration catalogs come out, as well as a brand new release last week of some items from our catalog that you can earn for free during this time. And unfortunately, all of the fun ends today. Well, tonight. So I thought I'm going to take advantage of my lack of a commute this morning. With teachers working from home, it means this time that I would normally be driving to work is free to me to create some cards. Good morning, Janice. So the card that I'm going to make for you today is a bit of a fancy fold as well. I don't often do these, but I saw this one and kind of thought it was fun. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. I've got all my cardstock pieces here cut, but I will let you know what the dimensions are. So this is a piece of Highland Heather cardstock. This is half of a sheet of cardstock. So we've cut this is 11 inches long, and we've cut it at 4 1/4. That means we're going to have another piece exactly the same size as this, so we can actually make 2 cards with 1 piece of cardstock. And then it's been scored at 5 1/2. So now, for those of you who may not have ever created card bases, I'm going to show you what I use for creating my cards. This is my paper trimmer, and I can use this to cut my pieces of cardstock with my darker blade here, and this is actually like a cutting blade. But then I've also got this lighter blade that allows me to come in and do a score line. So this piece of Highland Heather is cut at 2 1/2 by 4, or I think it's 4, maybe it's not, 2 1/2 by 5, sorry, and I am going to score it just at the 1 inch mark. Okay, so now just, so there's 2 blades here. One of them has a sharp blade on it, a pointy blade. The other one has a rounded blade. So I've used the rounded blade to create a line there, and then I can just push over and fold. Oh, is it like the one Denise did? I'm not sure. I actually didn't see Denise's video. I popped on briefly, and then kids distracted me. So I didn't actually end up seeing her finished product. All right, so sorry. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come back in here with this larger piece, and I am going to trim off 1.5 inches of this, what would be the front of this card. So now I've just got a piece of cardstock here that I can use for something else later. So what that's going to do is it's going to create for me a card front that is a little offset. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock that's 4 by 5 1/4, and so that layers up nicely right on the inside of our card. And I'm actually going to use some snail to attach this piece to the back side of this. So I'm going to pop in like that, get that centered, and just push that down. So now I've left it loose on the top. It's just attached on the back of my cardstock. And what that's going to allow me is that when I glue that in, I can close my card and fold that across the top. So that's where it becomes kind of a fancy little fold, is our card's going to close up a little bit differently. We've left enough space on our front, though, that when we want to stand up our card, it still balances and stands just fine. All right, so with that done, I am going to actually glue this into my card. So I've got my liquid glue here. The liquid glue is what I prefer to use. I just find that I can spread it around. It's got a stronger hold. And I do use the thicker end of my glue stick so that I can kind of bring out a little dot of glue and then rub that along so that I'm really not using very much glue. My glue bottles last me a long time. Then I just wipe off the little bit of extra, and I will glue this so it's centered inside my card. Oh, maybe not centered. And that's the other reason I like liquid glue, is it's a little bit forgiving. You can wiggle it around and move it around a bit in the beginning before it dries. All right. Excellent. So we've kind of got our card base started. Now we're going to work on some of the elements that are going to go into this card. So I've got a piece of Whisper white cardstock here, and it's been cut at 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, just so that it layers nicely on the front. But I'm also going to give a little bit of dimension to this by running it through my Settles embossing folder. So I'm just going to clear out my space. So I've got my embossing plate, my embossing folder, and I'm going to pop this in, and I'm going to line it up to make sure that those lines are going straight and longwise. That's the direction I want the texture to be when I put this onto my card. And then we'll pass it through. There we go. So when you're using these thicker 3D embossing folders, you only need one plate on top. If you get any resistance as you're passing it through, just stop and change up your sandwich. So now we've got that really nice textured cardstock there. All right, move this out of the way. So I'm really trying, now that I've got my office kind of organized again, really trying to keep it neat and tidy. So I did take the moment to actually put that away where it belongs instead of just throwing it down beside me. So this piece is now going to get glued onto this flap that we have here. There's my liquid glue. Excellent. So with today being the end of Sale-a-bration, it means that today is your last chance to earn free product with any order over $60. Today's your last chance to earn, oh, I didn't even use it today, I used my paper trimmer. But today is your last chance to earn that very sweet paper cutter that I've been using a lot lately. This is only available when you grab a starter kit, and today is the last day that this will be available in our starter kit. It's a really nice sharp blade and great for cutting smaller things like what I just did. I just pulled out my paper trimmer because I was also scoring. But that's a handy tool to have for cutting up little bits. In fact, I'm going to use it in a moment because we're going to have to cut one more piece here. So last day to get those kinds of things. You can always contact me or go straight to my shop, leahdixon.stampinup.net, or you can direct message me if you'd like to place an order, because yeah, today's the last chance to get those things. So this piece on our card front is 4 inches by 4 1/4. So I'm going to take this piece of white cardstock and I'm going to trim it to just 1/4 of an inch less than that. So let's start this way. So this one is already at 4 inches, so that's already what I want. And then 4 minus 1/4 would be 3 3/4. So now I've got that piece to put to the side. There we go. So now this piece of cardstock is going to go on here and create just a really nice layer for this part of the card. And of course it will end up getting covered up like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to actually create my own DSP. There is a very beautiful DSP that matches the stamp set I'm using. It's called Please Just Punch Designer Series paper. I have a few scraps of it here, but I do not have any of the piece that I was looking for, which is a piece that has these beautiful flowers. These flowers actually punch out perfectly with the little flower punch that's part of our Sale-a-bration rewards. So with an order of $120, you get this punch. Or can choose this punch as your reward. And so it perfectly cuts out the flowers. Just like our umbrella punch from the Under My Umbrella stamp set, perfectly cuts out the umbrellas on this DSP, but then it pairs up so nicely to make a beautiful card. So this is the Pleased as Punch DSP. Unfortunately, I do not have any here with me today. So, but I do have my punch, and I do have the Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, which is another one of our Sale-a-bration rewards. You can earn this with a $60 purchase. So I'm going to use these two products today to complete this card, and I'm going to just make my own DSP. The colors that coordinate with that are Balmy Blue, Coastal Cabana, Highland Heather, Crushed Curry, Calypso Coral, Blushing Bride, and so some really beautiful colors, Pool Party. So I'm just going to use some of those to create a background. So these stamps are photopolymer stamps. So I'm just going to grab a few blocks to pop these images onto. Let's see if I've got some smaller ones. I do. All right, here we go. So I definitely want to use this flower and my smaller flower and my smallest flower. Okay, I need another small block. So the blocks that I'm using can be purchased in our catalog, or when you order a paper pumpkin, you always get a block in there as well. So you could use that. All right, and then I'm just going to grab this very itty bitty one, and I'm going to put it on the back side of that block. All right, and finally, I'm going to grab a slightly larger one. Okay, I also want to use the sentiments from in this stamp set today. There's some really nice sentiments in here. There's a thank you, a congratulations, but the one we're going to use today says, I'm always amazed but never surprised by your thoughtfulness. And so I'll put that on a block as well. So we've got that all ready to go. Okay, I think that's all that I'm going to need in terms of my stamps. So I'll put that off to the side. And I'll also use this to create some extra flowers to put around the edge. So the first thing I want to do is to create 3 flowers to put around the edge of my sentiment later. So I've got crushed curry here. And to do this, I'm actually going to stamp that off because I want it to be, oh, that wasn't inked up very well. Wow. All right, so I'm going to stamp that off because I want it to be a very subtle color in the background. Because then I'm going to actually stamp over top of it with these lines. And so it just creates like a 2-tone flower. And I'm also going to stamp a few of these onto my background while I've got this color out. All right, so again, I'm going to stamp off and then stamp my flower. So for these ones, I can do a few of them at once and then come back in later and do the second layer on top. Okay, that should be good for that one. So that's going to get cleaned up. Now I'm going to come in and do the design on top. Okay. And for the design part, I'm not stamping off. I want it to stand out a little bit stronger. And before I put away this color, I'm also going to come in with this smaller flower and just do a few little ones, just in a few spots. And one itty bitty, a couple itty bitties. There we go. All right, so I've got to wash all of those now and come back in with another color. So the easiest way to clean stamps is with a chamois. And mine's over on my other table. So at this point, my chamois is not very pretty. This has been used a lot, but it still works just fine. And you just keep rinsing it off with water. And even though the black has stained, it's not coming off on my stamps. It's just kind of permanently there. These are, I think, $11 in the catalog. When you purchase one from me, I do give you the DVD case to store it in. All right, there we go. And clean that one up. So it's really just as simple as basically stamping on the chamois to clean that. And then we've got those all ready to go to come in with our next color. So I think I'm just going to give it a shot. I think I'm going to use Blushing Bride, but I'm just going to see what that looks like. Sometimes I find these lighter colors, when you stamp them off, then they're just way too light. But actually that one's not too bad. So I'll stamp that and then come in and stamp that off. So we do have just that really nice light pink color going on there. And then we'll go over top and stamp that. All right, so on our DSP, we're going to do the same thing. Our homemade DSP here. Okay. And one more over here. I'm not going to do too much of the pink. I want this to kind of have a lot more of the brighter tones. All right, but I am going to do a little bit. And so for this flower, I didn't do stamping off when I was doing the larger, or sorry, the small crushed curry ones, but for this one, I want this pink to be really soft and faded into the background. Okay, that is all for our Blushing Bride. Okay, so we'll clean those quickly. And now we're going to come in with a lot more bright colors. I'm going to use some Coastal Cabana, and then I'm going to follow that up with some Highland Heather. So we're going to have 4 colors going on here in our card. Okay. And this Coastal Cabana is actually already, it's a bit of a drier ink pad. So for this one, I'm actually not going to stamp it off. It just makes it a little too light. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to do Highland Heather, Highland Heather. So yeah, that's all I'm going to do is just the 2 Coastal Cabana as well, and one over here on my extra paper. All right. Now we're going to come in with our fancy layer. And one more there. All right. Oh, and my little ones. Forgot about the little ones. Okay. So. And some very itty bitty ones. I like this little tiny, tiny one. Okay. And, oh, good morning, Marie. Good morning, Danielle. So we're just creating our own DSP this morning because I do not have any of that beautiful Please Just Punch DSP. Today is your last day to order that. All of the coordination items actually go away today with the end of Sale-a-bration. So if you placed an order and earned those ladybugs, today's your last day to get those coordinating ladybug dies. Today's the last day for our Please Just Punch paper. And let's see what else is on here. The birthday dies already sold out, but the dies that coordinate with Nature's Thought, the ladybugs, the Sending Flowers dies, and the special day dies that coordinate with the cute little raccoon and squirrel. Those are all part of our coordination product release, and today is the last day for that sale, along with the last day for Sale-a-bration. So make sure that if there were items that you were hoping to get, you grab those. Today's also a great day to earn just some extra stamps and stuff while stocking up on kind of your necessities. Let's see. Okay, that's going to be quite light if I stamp off, so I'm not going to stamp this one off either. So, you know, I placed an order last night to stock up on all of my envelopes, Whisper White cardstock, all of that. Oh, you got the ladybug dies last night? That's awesome, Danielle. So if you didn't grab the dies, might be time to pop on and place one more order. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing I do need one more pink in there. So I'm going to quickly grab my Blushing Bride and pop that one in Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to throw in one more purple up here. Actually, no, I can do all my small flowers extending into there. So that's fine. So I'm just going to clean this off and add in a Blushing Bride. So today I'm making a very small piece of DSP. If I were actually creating DSP to do like a bunch of cards, I would probably take a full sheet of this paper and do the whole thing all at once. I'd just go in and do everything, because then I can cut it up to whatever size I want and use it for multiple projects. All right, so now I'll clean that and we'll come in and finish up our extras with our Highland Heather. So I'm going to stamp over top of my Highland Heather flowers, give them their extra texture. There we go. And then I've got my little flowers to stamp on here. Oops. Oh well, that'll get covered up. Okay. And bring in a few little dots. I'm not too worried about the centerpiece here of my DSP, because I know that that's going to actually get covered up by stuff, but let's see, where else do I want one? Throw one in there, throw a few little ones in here. All right, and just randomly throw in a few small ones. Okay, and I am doing a fair bit more of the Highland Heather than anything else, because the background of our card is Highland Heather, and so it's all just going to tie together nicely. Okay, and maybe one more down here. So there you have it. We have created our own DSP using the Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, and now we can start to put these onto our card. I'm just going to clean these quickly before I forget. Nothing worse than grabbing a stamp that you think is clean to go put it away and getting a big ink smudge across your hand, especially because the last color I used was the Highland Heather. It's not super visible. I never did use that one, actually. There we go. All right, so now I have here a 2-inch circle that I punched out, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on here using the Highland Heather. Oh, thanks, Marie. This is actually a technique that I've used a lot with a wide variety of stamp sets. You can do this on a piece of white like I did, because, you know, I wanted all the really bright colors, but you can also grab a piece of colored DSP and just like the same color ink and do a tone on tone with pretty much anything. And it just creates a little bit of an interest in the background without being too bold. All right, so I stamped that sentiment right there on my 2-inch circle. And now I'll put all those to the side. What I have here is the Label Me Lovely punch. Now these are on back order, both the Label Me Lovely and the Label Me Fancy, but they will be available, I believe, April 6th, and they are part of our mini catalog. So our mini catalog is not ending today. That's the good news. Everything in our mini catalog will continue to be available through to the end of May. So these labels coordinate very beautifully with one of our Sale-a-bration items. I'll just show it to you. It's the Tags in Bloom stamp set. Coordinate with those 2 punches. So if you go on and place an order of $120, you can earn this, and you can actually purchase these 2 punches as part of your order to get you up to the $120. So right here, this is $48, and then, you know, throw on some cardstock and some ribbon and you'll be there in no time. So really beautiful stamp set in our Sale-a-bration that ends today. But then these punches still coordinate with the Layered with Kindness stamp set, and they also just look really beautiful with anything on them. And as you're going to see today, I'm not even stamping directly on it. I'm actually going to use some dimensionals and just use it as a background here around that 2-inch circle. So really, really simple that way. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals and pop that on. And now we're going to put together our card just a little bit more before I show you one other little trick that I learned this weekend. I've been doing a lot of crafting. Oh, you got yours. Excellent. Oh, I'm so glad, Marie. Yeah, mine are back ordered. So they've been ordered, but they haven't arrived. So luckily I have some wonderful friends who live nearby who stamp. So I was able to do a few punches. Okay, so with that done, and our DSP, we'll start to add these pieces onto our card. So this DSP that we created, make sure you put it down the right way, is going to go there behind this. So most of it's getting covered up, but we're going to put this through anyways. All right. So again, make sure you're putting this back on the right way. No, this way. All right. And actually, I want the pink edge out. There we go. All right. So that is glued down. That's going to go that way. We are now going to glue this onto our card front. I'm actually going to center it on there, and I am going to use glue to attach it just because I'm putting it down onto textured cardstock. I want that glue to be able to get in there and really hold it in place. There we go. And then I am going to grab this little punch. This is the one from our Sale-a-bration. I'm going to punch out those 3 little flowers that I created. So there's one. Oh, I hope you guys cannot hear my tummy. It is telling me that I should have had breakfast before I did this. But I know that my morning is going to be pretty quiet because teaching now happens over the computer. So I'm going to be able to have a nice muffin and a coffee while I get started on my day today. We're still trying to figure out what it is we're doing with the younger ones, because doing online education with the littles is not going to be the way forward, I don't think. So yeah, still muddling through that. I'm sure we'll have a plan by the end of the week. The district's being really supportive and giving us a lot of tools, so we'll find out more during our staff meeting. All right, so I've just put mini dimensionals on the backs of these, and I'm just going to pop these randomly onto this folded piece that I've got. All right, one up there, and I want to just overlap that one a little bit. And oh, I almost put that into my tea. All right, and I'm going to pop that one up close. Okay, so those are on my card front now. I am going to put a little bit of a ribbon here, but what I realized is I used all of my white twine. I have more on order, but I haven't got it in the mail yet. So we're going to repurpose some, what is this, flax ribbon. So it's a really beautiful ribbon. I've used this on a lot of stuff, but today I'm going to cut a 7-inch piece, and then I'm actually going to come in here and just do a little cut off of one of the pieces here and start to pull. Oh, why didn't it? No, I need to cut a little bit further, I guess. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull apart my flax ribbon here to create little white threads. Okay, my other one went a lot more easily. Okay, let's come through. Let's see how much I have to cut through before I can just start to pull it apart. Nope, this one's being really stubborn. Okay. Uh-oh. I just cut through my ribbon. Darn it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one straight cut up the whole thing, and that should then loosen up the rest of these. There we go. Now I can peel those off, no problem. So I've just peeled off 2 strands from that flax ribbon, And now I've got like basically 2 little pieces of twine. They're a little bit, I don't want to say they're waxy, they're not really, but it's a little bit more sturdy than the twine, so it kind of moves a little bit nicer than the twine does. It's not as floppy. And here we go. Tie my little bunny ears. Oh, my hands are not cooperating this morning. There we go. And then I'll just pull the ends and keep adjusting that until I get the bow that I want. Okay, with that done, I'm going to keep these ends fairly long because we do have a lot of space on our card, but I am going to trim them up a little bit. Just make them even. And there we go. All right, so now to attach this to my card front, I'm going to use a mini glue dot. So these are my ones that I got with my paper pumpkin. And I'm going to put that on the back of where the knot is. And then peel off the paper. And then I'm just going to use my fingernail to kind of scoop this up and roll it into place so that it's behind the knot. All right, that way we don't have any sticky bits on our card front. And I'm going to put that underneath my words. Now I see how very unevenly I trimmed these. So we'll come back in and trim those again. All right. So we're just about done. We've got one more little detail here to add, and that's just to put a little something in the centers of our flowers. So I'm going to see about using some of my peacock rhinestones. And do I have the right colors? Pink. I don't really have anything that's going to go with that though. All right, I can use just a regular rhinestone. If I had some champagne ones, I would probably pop them in there. So I'm going to use a pink rhinestone in the center of my pink flower. I'm going to use a pretty peacock one in the center of my coastal cabana. And then if I had some champagne ones, I would grab those, but I don't. So I'm going to grab just a regular rhinestone for the center of my Mango Melody one. Oh, hey Val, no worries. I was just creating my own DSP and letting people know. Oh, well, look at that. I actually do have a champagne one stuck inside my regular ones. That's hilarious. So champagne ones are on back order, but they will become available again because, again, they're a product out of our mini catalog, not out of our Sale-a-bration. So they will be coming back. So there we go. I found a little champagne one to throw in there. All right, and that is our completed card. So it's got that fun little fold, and you can put your little message in there. And, oops, there we go. So, and that's a way to create your own DSP as well. So if you have not stocked up on your essentials and stuff, please make sure to place your order. You can contact me directly if you want some support figuring out what you want to order and to maximize that order, because there's a lot of different levels of bonuses right now with the Sale-a-bration, the 60 mark, the 120 mark, and then, you know, if you want to get those ladybugs and stuff. Or if you're very familiar with our Stampin' Up! Product, you can pop on to leahdixon.stampinup.net and place your order there. For all of my demo friends who are watching, don't miss out on any of your rewards. Go in, check your stats and make sure that you've got all of that maximized, and make sure you've got your essentials, because you might as well buy them now while you can earn some free product. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm off to teach, well, sort of teach my class, and I will be available throughout the day as well if people need to message. Oh, Madge, what a great question. I'm so sorry. DSP stands for Designer Series Paper. So the Designer Series Paper that I just created on my own was meant to mimic the Pleased as Punch Designer Series Paper. Well, one of them, the one with the flowers. This one actually coordinates. You can see it punches out the tulip, it punches out the umbrellas, the hearts, the flower punch that I used today, and then the other side is like more on the back side of the tulips is some nice green. On the back side of the flowers is a rainbow. On the back side of the umbrellas is some raindrops. And so just a really beautiful DSP. This is still available, but only today. And I don't actually have any. I just ordered some, but I don't have any in the house right now. So I just created my own using the Thoughtful Blooms stamp set. So that is, I think, everything. But like I said, I am available today, so message me. I'll be teaching online, but and I have one phone call meeting today. But other than that, I'm pretty available to chat with people, give you advice, walk you through things if this is your first time, and to answer all those questions, because I've been doing this quite some time, and it's very easy for me to forget that you guys don't know all the ins and outs and things like DSP. So have a wonderful day, and I will be on tomorrow morning with my regular Wednesday morning Facebook Live. Yeah, I'm not sure what working part-time looks like in this new thing, but I know that I will be making time for my Wednesday morning Facebook Live for sure. All right, have a wonderful day. Hope you're all staying healthy and safe, and if you need to chat, I'm always here because it can get a little bit lonely these days. Bye.